Welcome to the Betting Pros PGA podcast. I'm Pat Fitzmaurice here with Bo McBrayer. We have a new event on the PGA Tour this week. It's going to be a signature event with a star-studded field, and it's going to be played on an interesting new course. Bo and I are excited to give you a betting preview of the Truist Championship. But first, we're going to quickly recap the CJ Cup Byron Nelson. And I do mean quickly because there's not much to recap, quite frankly. Scotty Scheffler blew away the field. Scotty finished 31 under par at the Byron Nelson to win by 8 strokes. He tied the record for the lowest 72-hole score in PGA Tour history. It seemed like Scotty was going to break the record, but he had a sloppy bogey on the par 3 17th, and then he missed an 8-foot birdie putt on the par 5 18th. But Scotty gets his first win of the season. Eric Van Rooyen finishes a distant second at minus 23. Sam Stevens was third at minus 20. This tournament was Scotty's from the start. He opened with a 61. He followed it up with rounds of 63, 66, and 63. Bo, on last week's show, we talked about the value proposition of betting Scotty at plus 280, the lowest starting odds we've seen for him this season. Those odds essentially gave Scotty about a 36% chance of winning. We both felt there wasn't much value on Scotty at those odds, but as good as Scotty has been the past couple of years, he is certainly capable of making anyone look silly for fading him. And I guess he made us look silly. Bo, any thoughts on Scotty's win at the Byron Nelson?
Well, we did go over this at length last week, where we were kind of just hoping and praying he didn't win because the odds were so terrible. But we had a feeling that this could happen. And I mean, honestly, the plus 280 or plus 320, whatever odds you did bet Scotty on, it was minus 220 after his 61 on Thursday. He ends up going wire to wire very convincingly. He was aided by the weather split. Him going off late and then early was a massive advantage. So anybody that kind of went low along with him in the opposite wave, they got absolutely shafted by the weather delay, the 6-hour long weather delay on Friday. And that's kind of what happened is you get somebody who might have been able to maybe go low on Friday afternoon, had to tee off in much, much more difficult conditions on Saturday morning. And that was pretty much what 8-stroke lead going into the weekend. And it was all curtains after that. Scotty's not going to relinquish a lead like that against a field that honestly was pretty subpar, pun intended, I guess. Scotty Scheffler setting records. Nobody was going to catch him anyway. He kind of dawdled around the whole weekend where he was still pedal to the metal, playing aggressively because there's no trouble on that golf course. Even if Scotty went out there and tried to do Happy Gilmore on every hole, it wasn't going to be out of position or anything. This is a machine of a golfer already. So tip your cap to him. You're not going to win any money off of that bet anyway. What are you going to win? 3-1 at best? I think I missed a nice little parlay to sweeten the odds for Scotty Scheffler by a few hours. I got a tip on the Kentucky Derby that would have won with Sovereignty, but knowing that I couldn't get the odds when I did get the Sovereignty pick, oh well. We're moving on to this week. It's going to be a fun one because nobody knows anything about this golf course. It's no cut. We all know how most of us feel about no-cut events that, by the looks of it, are going to be another birdie fest.
Yeah, it should be for sure. And Scotty, like you said, Bo, the only time that course really showed any teeth all weekend was Saturday morning. And I think Scotty, not only did he get to sleep in, I mean, he got to sleep in and enjoy a sumptuous brunch because he didn't tee off until like after 4 p.m. local time, I think, on Saturday. So he missed the worst of the weather for sure. And, but he was swabbing the deck with the field no matter what.
It was a bloodbath.
Yes, it was. Now we will preview the Truist Championship in just a moment. But first,
download the free BettingPros app for iOS and Android. With Sportsbook Sync, you can automatically track your bets across all major sportsbooks in one spot. Easily monitor your bet performance by sport and bet type, including game picks, props, and parlays. You can create custom betting systems to find winning trends and profitable opportunities. Go get your free 7-day trial of BettingPros Premium by downloading the app at bettingpros.com/apps using the code JUICE, JUICE, and activating your trial on the upgrade screen.
So we've mentioned that the Truist Championship is a signature event. It's got a $20 million purse. There will be 80 players in the field, and there will not be a 36-hole cut. The Truist will be played at the Wissahickon course at the Philadelphia Cricket Club in Flourtown, Pennsylvania. I found out that Flourtown is the hometown of one of my favorite hockey players of all time, former New York Ranger and Wisconsin Badger goalie Mike Richter. But never mind that. The Wissahickon course was designed by A.W. Tillinghast and completed in 1922. Tillinghast is the architect responsible for two other iconic American courses, Wingfoot and Bethpage Black, both in New York. The Wissahickon course is really interesting, Bo. It's a par 70, measuring 7,119 yards. It's not a long course, and there are very few trees. There are, however, a lot of bunkers, 118 of them to be exact. The par 4 7th hole features something called the Great Hazard. It's a group of 13 bunkers cutting across the middle of the fairway, and they are surrounded by rough. Basically, it's just going to be a forced layup off the tee for the tour pros, but I would imagine that the Great Hazard causes major problems for high handicappers who play the Wissahickon course. The fairways are pretty tight on some of the holes, but not on all of them. And because the course is fairly short, players will probably be able to keep the driver in the bag on a lot of these holes. 7 of the 12 par 4s are 435 yards or shorter. The 2 par 5s are 546 and 553, pretty easily reachable for the tour pros. One of the par 3s is 122 yards. This is not a long course, but still, it might be hard to go flag hunting. A lot of the greens at the Wissahickon course are elevated. A lot of them are two-tiered. If you miss a green, there's a good chance you're in a bunker, and you've got a difficult out to an elevated green. And because there's so few trees on the course, the wind could be a factor here. That was the case when they played the Senior Players Championship at the Wissahickon course in 2016. Bernard Langer won with a score of 1 over par. That was the highest ever winning score in that event. The wind blew like crazy that week, so the scores were way up. So what's the wind going to be like in the Philadelphia area during this tournament? Not too bad from the looks of it. Wind should be in the 5 to 10 mile per hour range on 3 of the 4 days, with temperatures in the low to mid 70s. Friday could be a little chillier and a little windier. Winds are expected to be 10 to 15 miles an hour, and there's rain in the forecast. Bo, what do you make of the Wissahickon course?
Well, if the wind does not pick up from less than a 1 club wind, I think these guys are going to go super duper low. This is going to play even easier than TPC Craig Ranch because of the lack of distance. This is a golf course that without wind is virtually defenseless against the top players in the world. With the wind, it might get a little interesting because it is a narrow course. It does have a lot of nuance to it. A lot of these guys can bomb it through the nuance and not take any prisoners if the wind isn't causing them to think about those shots. So if the wind stays 1 club or less, we're looking at another 30 under par type of week, even with an elevated field. It's just the wind is really the only defense here.
Yeah, and the wind was, a major defensive battle work in that Senior Championship 9 years ago. But without it, Bo, I mean, you would have to have U.S. Open type rough, and U.S. Open, the stint meter would have to be rolling at like 15 on these greens.
Well, then, and you get that winged foot type of Tillinghast like vibe to it, where we remember some majors and some big events happening at winged foot, where you get a little bit of wind and a long rough and dried out conditions, which I don't even think we're gonna have dried out conditions for this golf course. That's when these types of Tillinghast courses can grow some real teeth. But none of that is coming into play this week. It's just going to be a big money grab for all 80 guys in the field.
Right. And if they do get the rain, they're projecting on Friday.
It's going to go even lower.
Yeah, it could be a birdie fest on Saturday and Sunday if we get that. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. And the weird thing is, Bo, for this course, as short it is, like no dog legs either. I did the
Yeah,
virtual tour. I think there was like one hole I would maybe consider a dog leg. So,
it's an interesting track to have a signature event. It's an interesting track to even put on the PGA Tour. Honestly, it's a big sponsor title. I think this is straight up pure money grab on the PGA Tour's part, and for the players in the field. So, not a huge fan of it, especially since there's not going to be any carnage this week to entertain me, to tantalize me and force me to watch it, to watch these guys struggle. But I guess it's not every week doesn't have to be for me, right?
that's true. That's true. We'll get to the odds in just a moment, but first,
Bet365 has a special offer for our listeners. Turn $5 into $150 worth of bonus bets when you join Bet365. To claim the offer, just go to bettingpros.com/365 and deposit at least $10. If you place a bet of at least $5, you'll earn $150 in bonus bets. Again, that's bettingpros.com/365. 21 or older only, must be present in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Louisiana, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Tennessee, or Virginia. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Or if you live in Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. Terms and conditions apply.
now for the Truist Championship odds. All odds are courtesy of DraftKings as of Sunday night. Some of these odds may have changed. Scottie Scheffler is sitting this one out after his easy win. We'll see him next week at the PGA Championship, but we will see Rory McIlroy, who opens as a heavy favorite at plus 400, 4-1 odds for Rory. Xander Schauffele, Ludvig Åberg, and Collin Morikawa are all 16-1. Justin Thomas is 20-1. Patrick Cantlay 22-1. Victor Hovland and Tommy Fleetwood 28-1. Jordan Spieth and Corey Connors are 30-1. Russell Henley and Hideki Matsuyama are 35-1. And Shane Lowry and Maverick McNealy are 40-1. Who do you like from among the favorites, Bo?
This is a tricky week to bet. Honestly, we're doing this show Sunday night, Monday morning. The odds are kind of moving all over the place already because nobody knows anything. They don't know anything about the golf course. They don't know anything about what the conditions are going to be like for these guys. And Scottie Scheffler's not here. So where that should be a blessing, we're not getting good odds on Rory McIlroy, obviously, because he just won the damn Masters and put forth a great effort with Shane Lowry at the Zurich. This is the kind of golf course where I'm expecting to play guys who absolutely can go super low. If I can picture you going 30 under par, I'm going to bet on you. And really, that starts with Justin Thomas at 20-1. How many course records does Justin Thomas have on the PGA Tour? More than anybody else. This is the kind of place where I can picture Justin Thomas going super duper low in multiple rounds, kind of like Scottie did last week. And this is an opportunity for Justin Thomas to continue his ascent back to the top of the game. And he's the one guy in this field where if there's going to be a lot of short approach shots and a lot of wedge work, like even if he's scrambling or if he's just hitting wedges into small greens guarded by lots and lots of bunkers, I want that guy in my foxhole because he's going to make a ton of birdies. So my card is going to start at 20-1 with Justin Thomas, but I'm keeping a close eye on what Ludvig Åberg's line comes in at because he's a little bit at the short end of my liking for this tournament, but he's the kind of guy, again, who could go super low. I just don't like him on a shorter golf course compared to Justin Thomas.
Right. Yeah. With the shorter course, I do wonder if that sort of, goes away from Ludvig's strength. And, like he was great at the Masters again, a 7th place finish, but he was 54th at the RBC Heritage, which is another kind of short course. And he missed the cut at the Valero Texas Open. So now I totally agree with you. If this is a birdie fest, that does play to Justin Thomas's strengths. Collin Morikawa, I feel like his iron play could be a great asset at the Wissahickon course, but does he have the short game?
No.
Yeah, probably not. Xander Schauffele. Schauffele is 5th on tour in strokes gained on approach, but
Yep.
weirdly, he ranks 156th on strokes gained putting. But Xander's played pretty well lately, finished 8th at the Masters. He's finished top 20 in his last 3 events. I'm intrigued by Jordan Spieth. Again, Bo, He got red hot over the weekend at the Byron Nelson. He closed with a 62 on Sunday. And if Spieth can keep the driver in the bag on a shorter course for a lot of the week, that could work to his advantage. One other name I'll throw out, Maverick McNealy has played some really good golf lately. He was third at the Valero Texas Open, third at the RBC Heritage. Very sound statistically. The only thing I kind of worry about with Mav this week is not get great out of the sand, Bo. He ranks
That
153rd.
might be a problem.
It might be a problem on this course with
Yeah.
118 bunkers, and Mav is 153rd in sand save percentage.
Yeah, and with Xander, you mentioned Xander struggling on the greens lately. That's not like him. My one concern with Xander is can he make enough birdies? He's more of a grinder. He's not a guy who goes super duper low on these easier golf courses. He's a guy who wins making it look easy on tougher golf courses.
Right. Save Xander maybe for next week at Quail Hollow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, now for some of the mid-range options. We have Wyndham Clark, SungJae Im, Daniel Berger, and Keegan Bradley at 45-1. Sepp Straka, Sam Burns, Minwoo Lee, and Jason Day are 50-1. Taylor Pendrith, Keith Mitchell, Davis Thompson, and Ben Ahn are 55-1. JJ Spahn and Denny McCarthy are 60-1. And Tony Finau, Michael Kim, and Justin Rose are 65-1. Anyone you like from this group, Bo?
No, actually, no. If I could, I'd bet that nobody in this entire group would make the top 10. Because none of these guys are birdie makers. None of these guys are good wedge players. None of these guys have amazing short games. Like, they have their strengths, but this is the dead zone for me. This is the one where I went through each name and I said, nope, nope, nope. Yeah, anybody? Bueller? I mean, there's a couple of guys I like a little bit because of their recent form or maybe how well they fit this course. Okay, but it's not enough for me to bet real money on them. It's just not a good group. It's guys that are inflated in value or just simply have no business in this group at all.
I agree mostly. Like a year ago, I might have been interested in SungJae Im on a course like this.
Oh, yes.
But like he ranks 178th in strokes gained on approach this year. That would not
He's
seem
been
to
off.
bode well.
He's just been
Yeah,
off.
he has been off. So until SungJae dials it in, I don't think he's a very good value.
When he becomes more Im.
Exactly. So at 45-1, no thanks. What about Sepp Straka, Bo? Like that's the one guy from this group I could maybe make a case for. He's finished top 15 in 4 of his last 6 events, 5 of his last 7 if you include the team event in New Orleans. And Straka leads the tour in strokes gained on approach and ranks 8th in total strokes gained. So I guess I could maybe make a case for him. What say you?
I like his game. I like the fit on short golf courses. He has shown good form, but those are all really tough golf courses that have teeth despite their length. If the conditions stay the way they're looking by Thursday, I don't think he can make enough birdies. He's more of a grinder again, where you're like, hey, Sepp Straka looks good on this $7,100 yard golf course. Can he win? And I was like, well, yeah, if the winning score is 15 to 20 under par, I'd say absolutely. But this isn't the Honda Classic or the Cognizant or somewhere else that you're looking at playing that target practice golf that he does play. His putting has not been good. His short game has not been great. And can he make enough birdies? This is still a strong field, especially at the top. I think I'm just going to skip that whole group and say if they beat me like Scotty beat me last week, I'll tip my cap to the entire group because I don't believe in him.
Fair. All right. What about long shots? Is there anyone with odds of 70-1 or longer who's worth a look?
So I'm going with one guy who's blazing hot, another guy who can absolutely win this thing with enough birdies and the wedge game. How about Andrew Novak? The guy is the hottest golfer in the world right now, maybe other than Scotty Scheffler. But Andrew Novak's playing out of his mind this season. 70-1 for him in this field, especially with the way this course sets up. We know Novak can go low. We know that he's just as hot as it gets. So why not bet 70-1 on a guy who's better than every single guy in the group ahead of us in the mid range? And then Akshay Bhatia at 75-1. We've seen him win on these types of golf courses where it's going to take 26 to 30 under par, and he's going to have a whole lot of pitching wedges into these little greens. I love the ability for Akshay Bhatia to go super low, and 75-1 is insanely long for a guy of his caliber with the game that he can pull into a golf course that suits his eye like this one.
Yeah, you mentioned how hot Novak has been in his last 3 events. Third at the Valero Texas Open, second at the RBC Heritage, and then he teamed with Ben Griffin to win the Zurich Classic of New Orleans. So
Seems
yes,
good.
that's a pretty nice progression.
And I know you'll rubber stamp endorsement on my last long shot at 110-1, and another guy who's red hot and can go super duper low, Mr. Rasmus Højgaard.
Yeah, I don't know when they finalized the field for this, but I know at on some forum sheets they had Højgaard listed for both this and the other. There is another tournament this week in Myrtle Beach. We are not going to be able to give you any advice on the One Flight Myrtle Beach Classic because we're recording this on Sunday night.
Oh,
There were
darn it.
Yeah, and there were no odds posted
Darn
for that
it.
event as of Sunday night, but suffice it to say there are quite a few players from the Corn Ferry Tour teeing it up in Myrtle Beach this week. So yeah, I can definitely support you on that one. Rasmus has been hot lately, but I think the long shot I like the most, Bo. Brian Harman is 80-1. He finished third at the RBC Heritage the last time he played in a tournament, and he won the Valero Texas Open a few weeks before that. This is a shorter course, so Harman's lack of distance won't hurt him. And this is a guy who won the Open Championship. I kind of like him on a linksy type of course, like Wickahisson seems to be. So, yeah, I'm pretty interested in Harman at 80-1. So
Yeah, I won't endorse that because I will never bet Brian Harman, but that's a good pick because he does fit the golf course.
I didn't say I want to watch him, Bo. I just want to win money on him.
I will change the channel in a heartbeat if they're featuring him in any featured group because it's like how long do we have here?
Exactly. Yeah, the pre-shot routine does get a little old after a while. All right, Bo, who's on your early betting card?
All right, I got Justin Thomas 20-1, Andrew Novak 70-1, Akshay Bhatia 75, and Rasmus Højgaard 110-1. Yeah,
I'm keeping mine pretty lean and mean this week too. I'm going to go with Jordan Spieth at 30-1. Really liked what we saw from him at the Byron Nelson. I am going to go with Novak at 70-1 and Harman at 80-1. So just 3 players this week. Now for our one and done picks, Bo. You took Taylor Pendrith. He missed the cut by a shot last week. Just your second cut misser of the season. I took Spieth. Spieth shot that 62 on Sunday to surge into 4th place. Good for $485,100. I closed a little bit of ground on you, but you're still ahead of me by more than $2 million. And you are up first this week, sir. Who are you taking at the Truist Championship?
I am going to burn a big one, and this is controversial, but at the Truist, I'm going to take Ludvig Åberg.
Ooh, Ludvig Åberg. Okay. You know what, Bo? I am going to take Brian Harman. Just something about Mr. Harman, a long shot.
If you outscore me on this one, I'm just going to take my headset off next week. Just to let you have the floor.
So that is going to do it for this week's Betting Pros PGA podcast. Come join us again next week when we will be previewing the second major of the year, the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow. Until then, so long, everyone.